What's up? Let's make sure this is working. Yep, we seem to be working. There's a storm going on right now, so if I randomly drop, you'll know what it is. Okay, I got audio. Yep. We'll keep desktop audio on, just in case I start playing a video later on. I'm going to post an announcement to the Discord. Everyone, spoiler stream for Little Miss Steel #1. Okay, maybe not the number because Discord doesn't like you using hashtags. Alright, nice. We'll wait a little bit. I'll put this on DeviantArt as well. Why not? Ooh, 1597 followers. Only 3 away. Only 3 away from 1600. Alright, so everyone knows. Do I post this to... I don't really think anyone cares on Twitter. No one's got me on the official Joe Biden account just put I'm sick yesterday. Posted I'm sick. Now, you know what? I'm not even gonna start. I was about to say something conspiratorial. I'm not gonna start with that one, man. Maybe I'll end with it. Maybe I'll end with it, bro. Halo has been canceled by Paramount after 2 seasons. Heck yeah. No one liked that show. Not a single person liked that show. Ooh, your fan art. Very nice. Very nice. Very good. Very good. Very good art. Very good art. I'm waiting for some people to join. It's crazy. I see you know, back whenever I was starting out art, something that always something that I always didn't really something that always, sorry, I got distracted by a clip. Whenever I started doing art, something that I noticed was you know, most people whenever they're drawing women, it's extreme min-max proportions. Like it's all boobs, all hips, all butts, no waist. And that's just not really my style. I'm not saying I won't draw that, because I did draw it for someone's we did an art trade, an art fight, if you will. And I drew the guy's OC, and she is very booba. To say it in the most childish way possible. But I mean, I'm not opposed to drawing it, but it's not something I really want to draw most of the time. And now I've seen over the years, I've seen kind of, maybe it's because, maybe it's because of like the people I follow. My feed just gets personalized to what I consistently like and follow. But I see a lot of like art that's like just normal proportions. Or it might be like big-headed, but normal proportions. You know what I mean? Like cartoon characters sort of with big heads. I'm looking at a post. Twitter is an endless source of reaction content. It could be very easy for me to just make 3 videos a week reacting to stuff on Twitter, but that wouldn't be productive. I could be doing consistent streaming every single week and probably growing my audience, but it would be over things that aren't going to really matter. Like this game, Splitgate 2, which get your modern gaming bingo card out. We got neon hair. Okay, check. This guy's got Colgate hair. It's blue and red or pink. Actually, it looks more pink. Dude with blue and pink hair. He's 100% gay. All right. And then you got the girl with the mental illness haircut. Now, what's the mental illness haircut? It's the shaved on one side, and sometimes it's shaved on like, you know, the left and right and back, and then long up top, drooped over to one side. Now I'm gonna be honest. 5 years ago, I was wearing this style. It did not look good, and it took me a while to realize that it didn't look good. People told me it didn't look good. When it was shorter, it was fine. And honestly, that's kind of what the guy with the neon blue and pink hair has. He's kind of cut it short around the sides and back, and he's got it a little bit longer up top. It's not long, but it's kind of brushed over to the side, right? Kind of like how I was doing it. And then it got too long, and then I just started putting it up in the man bun. All right, man bun cringe, man bun cringe. If I were to wear it any other way, you guys would be saying it's cringe anyways. Anyway. But the mental illness haircut is like, you know, most people refer to it whenever they're looking at women, whenever women wear it. Now, here's the thing. I don't even think this hairstyle is that bad. It's not as bad as the mullet. The mullet is bad. And nowadays, people do not know what a mullet is. They say any man with long hair has a mullet. And I'm like, no, you idiots. A mullet is short at the top or front, long in the back. That's what a mullet is. iDubbbz has a mullet, and it looks so bad. Just because you're a dude with long hair does not mean you have a mullet. It's crazy, man. It's crazy. People just don't understand what a mullet is. But I don't even think the mental illness haircut looks bad. And I did not make the name. Someone else made the name. And then they're like, the tweet I'm looking at is comparing those characters to the characters of I think it's a Japanese game, The First Descendant, and beautiful looking women. With one is like, you know, armored head to toe, but I think it looks like she's got long hair. Other woman, long brown wavy hair. Beautiful. Why can't we just have more of that? See, Overwatch for the most part, right? People want to give Overwatch crap, and I give it crap too. because they freaking go crazy with the pandering. Anytime they have bad PR, they make another character gay. They had such a bad PR round a couple years ago that for Pride Month they made like 5 characters confirmed on the alphabet spectrum. And it's like some of them are like, okay, whatever. But I don't think I'll ever get over Soldier 76. I don't think I'll ever get over that one. Not a single person would ever have guessed that Soldier was gay. There's tropes. And it's bad to make a character entirely tropes. Like Lifeweaver is exactly a trope. Right? He is the stereotypical gay man. 100%. Not a doubt in my mind. Anytime you look up this guy, anytime you see this guy, he's gay. Guaranteed. And if you make the character like that from the onset, I'm not even going to be that mad. I'm not even going to be mad. Because I'll play a game if it has a gay character. I'll watch a show if it has a gay character. I don't care. Arcane is one of the best shows ever made. And it has, like, lesbian characters. I'm pretty sure there was a sex shop or something in one of the episodes, which kind of confirmed it, right? And I don't really care. I don't care. The freaking Andor, another perfect example. An excellent show that everyone loves, everyone with good taste loves, and it's got a lesbian couple in it. And no one cares. Notice how the people who like hate Disney Star Wars never say anything about Andor. Because it's good. And they never complain. It's like it's genuinely like one of the most beloved shows to come out of Star Wars ever. It's like the only one that's just straight up good from start to end. That's made for adults. I'm not counting Bad Batch. Bad Batch is kind of made for kids, right? Most Star Wars is made for kids, let's be honest. But the animated shows are more so for kids, even though they do have plenty watchability for adults. No issues whatsoever. If you're an adult and you're watching the Star Wars animated shows. Except for Resistance, I guess. And what's the one for the little kids? They're trying to tap into the little kid market and not working. Anyway, I think I've given enough time for people to join. This guy is horny posting on Twitter. Anyway, I'm sorry. I'm getting distracted by Twitter. I need to just close it. Okay. It's endless entertainment. I'm telling you. It's endless entertainment. I could talk for days about Twitter. But anyway. Oh, what was I? Let me finish the Soldier 76 thought. The thing with Soldier that just doesn't make sense is that he doesn't fit any of the tropes. It's okay for your character to have tropes. It's not good if your character is entirely trope. Unless they're like a joke character, right? But it's like Soldier has no signs whatsoever that he's gay. Even after they announced it, I'm still like, I still don't believe he's gay. It just doesn't make sense. Tracer, the signs were there. Like, it was kind of obvious. And I don't think too many people were shocked. You know? I don't think a lot of people were shocked back in, like, what, 2017? When they announced that? That one just, like, I don't think anyone ever doubted that one. But Soldier was just, like, a complete blindside that made no sense. And what's worst of all is that it's, like, it's to a character that's not... He was in a relationship with a character that wasn't even a main character. It's not even a hero. He's probably dead. I can't remember. The comic it came out a while ago. I can't even remember it. Had a cool moment with Reaper in it where Anna saw Reaper's face and then never showed what's under his face, and they shouldn't. Um, but yeah, I mean, it just doesn't make sense for Soldier, and it feels like they did it simply for the pandering, the PR move, right? Um, and again, I mean, I I've started back playing Overwatch because my best friend was telling me he was feeling like playing it, and I'm like, dang it, I want to have fun with my friend. I'm gonna play the game, and I'm playing freaking Venture, who's like the non-binary character or whatever. I've been playing Venture. Super fun character. I love all the abilities. I'm not like I'm not someone who's just gonna just boycott something just because gay. Like you gotta show me that your product is actually not good, like the Acolyte. Okay. Anyway, without further ado, I think I'm gonna go ahead and get started with the stream. We're still live. We're still going. So I'm gonna actually get started. We're 16 minutes in. Oh boy, Little Miss Steel has had very good reactions. I'm very pleased that you guys have enjoyed it and are looking forward to more. I am working on issue 2 as we speak. I'm really trying to hit that fall deadline. It's probably going to be comfortably. I don't want to overcommit and I don't want to like undercommit. I'm going to say November. I'm going to shoot really hard for November. If I get it sooner, I will let you know. But I'm going to shoot for November. And I have been taking the novelization. There's the novelization of Little Miss Steel has been out. The first wave, anyway, the first season, I'll call it. The novelization has been out. And a common complaint that I get from like some test readers is that it's kind of matter of fact. It's not super descriptive. Like it's not giving you a clear, precise picture of the surroundings. And I understand that. I get that complaint. I write, and if my goal was to write books primarily, I would start changing it. But my primary goal is to make comics. And the book, the Little Miss Steel novel, is sort of a test run. Like, I'm going to keep updating it and people can read it and enjoy it. But it's a test run to see what works, what doesn't work. Because now that I'm going back and I'm making the full comic version of Little Miss Steel, now that I'm doing that, I'm changing some things. And things that I didn't even think were necessary to change, things that I never even thought I would. I'm looking back on it now that it's like, been basically a year since I wrote it originally. And I'm like, man, I can see where if I make this small change, it's going to make all the difference. And I like that. I like going back and seeing what works and what doesn't work, because the next episode after the debut is in the novelization is V trying to learn how to use the gadgets, getting upset, going outside. There's a kind of a cute scene with her and LeJean where LeJean's trying to help her learn how to fight, which demonstrates that LeJean has some street smarts and some street fighting experience. And then during that, he gets arrested by Chief Sting for thinking that he was fighting her. In reality, it was bogus because he was just doing it because Raymond asked him to, because him and Raymond are tight. And what ends up happening is, V gets her act together. She starts using the gadgets and everything better, and it works out. And that story is fine. I think that's fine. But I think in a comic medium, I don't think that works. It's not as action-packed It's not as intense because what is V fighting? V is fighting like 4 old retired cops. It's not very engaging. And for like, for a book, I think it works. I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but for a book, it definitely works. For a comic, I don't think it works. And so that's why we're moving straight into what was the novel's episode 3 or chapter 3 with Stonehold. And I'm changing the theme of it. The theming is going to be less about, the morality of stealing or the morality of taking just a little bit of money, right? She won't miss it. I'll just take one stack of $20 bills out of like 15. She won't notice it. Or she won't care because she's rich. And it's really easy to be like, oh yeah, that's fine. She's not going to miss it. I need the money more. It's very easy to do that. But the kind of moral lesson is you're still stealing. It's still stealing, right? And you shouldn't do it. And what happens at the end of it is that, like, V understands this. She finds the lady the next day and she's like, hey, here's your money back. I'm sorry I stole this. And then she's like, oh, you can keep the money because you helped me, blah, blah, blah. You stopped this criminal from robbing me. Here, you've earned the money. And it's like, it's kind of also a little demonstration of like the goodness of people's hearts. But I'm changing it to be something else. And it's kind of gonna be the moral of, or at least the lesson learned for the novelization's episode 2, where she learns her gadgets and stuff. The lesson for her is just to not rush into things and just like bulldoze your way through a problem by punching things, because that's what Stonehold does. And she can't out Stonehold because he's Stonehold. And instead she's having to learn the gadgets. So that's kind of like, I'm not going to spoil the rest of it because there are some story elements that change in that as well. But that's sort of where I'm moving. And I wanted to kind of preface that going into the spoiler stream for Little Miss Steel 1. Now let's look at a couple of analytics. We got 191 views on Global Comics, which is pretty good. Global Comics is something I found somewhat, recently, like 2 years ago now, and it seems to be doing pretty decent as far as webcomics go. Don't know how successful it is making money off of it. I haven't made a dime off of Issue. Let me tell you that right now. I have not made a penny. To me, it just seems like webcomics in general are not where the money is, and that's fine. I'm not, I would love to make money and help my brother out because he's been out of work forever with cancer. But now he's cancer free now, thank God. But he's still out of work, so he's trying to start his life back over, and it's difficult, right? So I'm trying to help him out with that. So any kind of donations will help. Ko-Fi, I would greatly appreciate it if you donate on Ko-Fi. It's linked on everything, every single site where this is. You can find anywhere Little Miss Steel is, you can find the Ko-Fi link. But yeah, let's go ahead and get it. Let's pull it up here. Let me format it correctly. Oh yeah, 191 views on here. Webtoon, we got 71 views, 10 subscribers, 10-star rating, which is nice. It probably just means that like 3 people rated it, but at the very least, they all really enjoyed it. But yeah, so 71 views, not as much views on Webtoon, which I'm a little disappointed about. Now, here's the thing. I did a no-no. This is not what you're supposed to do with Webtoon. You're supposed to put multiple episodes, but that's not really what this is. This is not a multi-episode experience. This is a full, complete episode experience in one posting, and it would be weird if I divided it into 3. And I just don't think it's fitting for this story to be that way. Demonico, yeah, sure, that's fine. But for this, I just don't think it's good. Obviously, it's not good for views or getting into the Webtoon algorithm. But I'm beyond that at this point. Global Comics is where the views are at anyway. But got some good comments on here as well. And then Tabbas is just dead, man. I think Tabbas is a completely dead website. I don't think anyone is doing anything on Tabbas. 18, man. 18 views, 1 subscriber. This is just... I love the novel side of Tabbas. It's pretty decent. I can't complain about it too much as far as, like, you know, actually getting stuff, you know, posted through novelization. And I'm glad something like this exists so you can do it for free without having to make your own website. But man, it's really not where the views are. So I really, you know, I'm gonna for the next one, I think I am gonna post it to Tabbas just because I might as well. It's not too much extra work. But if it gets like 2 views, I'm just not gonna post on Tabbas. It doesn't seem worth it to me. I also had someone ask me about the logo. They're like, why is there a V in the T? And I kind of thought it was obvious, but I'll explain it here. So you got Little Miss Steel, right? That's the name of her, you know, her hero identity is Little Miss Steel because she's, you know, daughter of Miss Steel. And her name is Veronica, nicknamed V. And the V and the EE says V. I'm saying this like I'm talking to 5-year-olds, and I don't mean to, but I mean, I like I said, I kind of thought it was obvious, but you got Little Miss Steel, and then you got V. And that's just something when I was trying to think of a logo, I was like, what do I do here? You know, what's the logo look like? And I think the logo, if you were to tell me to make like an icon instead of like if you told me I couldn't use the name as a logo and I had to use one icon, I think it would be this T with the V in it. I think it would be this. So, with that being said, let's actually get into it. Let's actually talk about this. So, I talked about this art a little bit last time. Sixus made it. It looks fantastic. Very 80s comic style. And I'm really happy it's here. And I still use it. I just removed the articles because the titles of the articles and the images themselves kind of tell the story. She crash lands to Earth. You can see, like, you know, there's a little crater. There's also she's lifting a tank, showing that the military attacked her upon landing, so she's acting out of self-defense. Bullets are flying off her. You know, she's super strong, obviously. I love the detail of the sand falling off of the tank, man. It's so good. The more I look at this art, the more, you know, every time I look at this art, I'm like, wow, it's so good, man. Then, you know, a year later, now she's beating up a criminal with a crowbar and a mask on his head. Gets a tooth smacked out of him. And obviously she's holding back because she could have killed this guy. She could have totally killed this guy if she wanted to, but instead, she's not using the super strength of lifting a tank. She's using the mild strength to knock a tooth out of the guy and knock him out. And then you get down here, you know, she's entered into the Mighty Five. You got night vision here. You get a glimpse of what he looks like under the helmet. And she's shaking his hand and everything. There's the old uniform that V's wearing now. This is what she's wearing currently. And she's still wearing it here as well. And so here she is. You know, she's found out that she is pregnant. And so thus starts the story of Little Miss Steel. So here we go. We enter the much simpler art style of the 2000s cartoons of which this is based. And we enter into the Phoenix area. Originally, this was like 2 different images. I have one that said 2002 and the bus riding over the hill. Or no, excuse me. The bus was not on the hill. You just saw the smoke, the dust, I mean. And then the next page was the bus climbing over the hill. And I just kind of like, just combine them. There's no need to put 2. Just some fun, goofy stuff here. I've talked about the beginning of Little Miss Steel quite a bit. I haven't really talked too much about the second half of it. But some other things I want to talk about just on the way there. This immediately the point of this scene on the bus is to immediately get you introduced to the character of Amy and V. Of course, V is the main character. Amy being the positive and joyful source of I don't know, joy to V. She is, super positive. She, anytime V starts to say something sort of putting herself down, Amy's like, you can't be saying stuff like that. Say positive things. And I know some people will be like, oh, saying you're fat is not a negative thing. Get healthy, man. Start working out. But yeah, so she kind of puts herself down a little bit by calling herself fat. And she is a little chubby, but she's not fat. But the idea is basically the immediate introduction to these characters shows that how, that they're different. That she is more, super positive, upbeat. V's a little more pessimistic, but not like super pessimistic. She's trying to encourage her friend to hold on to the bar to keep herself down instead of flying off the the bench every time the bus hits a bump in the road, which of course there's tons because there's potholes everywhere, man. Can't keep the roads in good shape in some places. Luckily for me, it's not too bad where I live. Some areas are pretty bad, but for the most part it's pretty good. But yeah, so, and the scene also shows that V is comfortable using her steel skin power. She is comfortable using it even in sort of, kind of in public, but she doesn't do it in a way that gives her away. She's just kind of showing that, hey, I got a really good grip. Also, the writer of Koga Biofile, the comic I reviewed last week, he sent me a screenshot of this frame out of context and said this is going to be my new meme with my comic friends, and I'm like, oh no. I've got a really good grip, plus I'm fat. Out of context, it's funny, but and I don't. To be honest, I don't even know what like the joke he's thinking of. He didn't elaborate, but I can take some assumptions, and it's kind of funny. But yeah, so again, kind of clash of personalities, but they still get along, right? Another funny scene where I get to play with the proportions a little bit. So I make her head super flat like a lollipop. And I felt like just these two pictures wouldn't really get the point across. So I had her think of a lollipop with her exact face on it. So I did that just to kind of, make the joke very clear. A little bit of Adventure Time in the faces here. A little bit of reference there. I know it's not 2000s cartoon. Even though it began production in 2008, 2009. But I wanted to throw that in because Teen Titans has done faces like that as well. Other cartoons of the time this is based off of, right? And it is set in the 2000s. It's 2002. But yeah, so they're getting off the bus. Mention of Chester and a band. So this kind of gives you an insight immediately that V has a social life, right? She has friends of which she does things with. And it also sets up the introduction of Chester and the rest of the band later on. They don't just come out of nowhere. They're mentioned and then they show up, right? It's not just something that happens. Going on through here, get a little bit of insight to what V thinks about her current situation. A little bit of internal monologue, which is one of the easier ways to, explain how your character is viewing the world and everything. And technically, I guess it's possible to not really use dialogue to get the point across here. But I wanted to sort of give an insight to not just the way that V feels about it, but the way she talks about it, right? Sometimes the way we say things can truly explain how we feel. Even though we might be saying something else, we might be saying something, but we're meaning something else. You know what I mean? And so that kind of, I think that can come across here. Overgrown yard, really bad looking trailer. of a house, and dead tree in the front, the cracked fence. There's a little bit of everything here, and what little grass grows in some parts of Arizona, it's kind of dead looking. It's not the most vibrant green, right? And that's something else I'm really proud of too, is the passage of time. So like if you go back up to the top here, where the sun is setting, and then later on you'll see that the time goes from setting sun to evening to night. That's something I wanted to get consistent. So going back here, she's coming into the back of her house. What is it, Bada Bang? What? She's going crazy. So going back here, little funny scene. She steps in some poop, points at her dog. Speaking of dog, Butterbean, my dog. This is Cutie. Now, a little bit of fun fact for you. This Cutie is my dog I had growing up. So I guess I was around like 12 or whatever. Maybe not 12. I guess I had to be like 10 when we got Cutie. And she was a very good dog. Sadly, she passed when she was 10. She got a tumor in her stomach, and she was very chunky. She was a chunky dog, but she was one of the most mild dogs ever. She was afraid of everything. But she was a very good dog, very well trained, very well behaved dog. And I decided to put her in the comic. I decided to put her in the story, and and I think I did a pretty good job of drawing her. She was a Boston Terrier Chihuahua, which I later found out people call a Chibo. And I was looking for trying to get another Chibo whenever I was looking for a dog of my own when I moved out, but Butterbean is a dachshund with 7% Chihuahua, and that 7% shows, man. It shows in her face. She just looks like a Chihuahua in the face, but she's a dachshund. Very long baby. But yeah, so steps in some poop, gets mad, can't stay mad. Moving on here, we got V going in the house, and something else. Some people might look at the fact that V is kind of a little chubby, might look at that and say like, oh, he's trying to pander to the modern audience. He's trying to like do some kind of like feministic body positivity or whatever. That's not what I'm doing. The point of her starting out of shape is to show the growth of her character as the comic continues. It's a little thing called character arcs. And obviously as someone who, and this is just me thinking of a logic point whenever I was like thinking of this character, is like, okay, she has super strength to a certain degree. Even without using her powers, she has a little bit of super strength just naturally, right? So she would be very lazy. She would never have to like actually exert herself to do much of anything a normal person would do. So she just goes through life, coasting through, not ever having to really push herself to do anything. So obviously she would be a little lazy, and it makes her a little chubby. So I think it makes sense story-wise to start her off this way, and then to see the growth. Like as the series goes on, you're gonna see I'm gonna draw her arms bigger. Her arms are gonna get bigger, more defined. Her waist is gonna get a little skinnier. I'm gonna draw like more, I guess, defined leg muscles and stuff like that. Not too much detail because again, my art style is very simplistic, like a cartoon. I can't do too much, otherwise it looks out of place. But again, the goal is to have her visibly look different. And like she might start off kind of thick, like this, but she's gonna end up much more in shape as it goes on. We got Miss Steele, the first appearance of Miss Steele in the usual comic art style. As you can see, she hasn't really aged too much. She still looks pretty young, though there are some scenes where I draw her looking a bit more tired, and a little bit of emotional tiredness, less so than physical tiredness. Um, but yeah, she's got her new outfit on, which is more like a one-piece swimsuit kind of deal, um, and kind of going along the lines of the the mom who moved from another country to America and never truly figured out English all the way type of trope. um, and trying to, kind of playing on that a little bit. And I think it also works because V is Mexican. Eduardo Night Vision is Mexican. So that analogy kind of works as well. And I just think it's funny too that she gets words wrong. Ramones, longtime fans of EV Comics. Before I was known as EV Comics, when I was still Demonico Comic, you will know the significance of Ramones Pizza. You will know it. You will. She gets a little Go-Gurt out of the fridge. And yeah, first thing she does whenever she comes home from school at like 3 o'clock, she gets food. You get a little bit of an idea of the dynamic here, right? You get some idea that V kind of resents both her parents, but she resents Tatiana less. She kind of gets the idea that I understand you try to a certain extent, but Dad doesn't try at all. And she's like, hey, you shouldn't be talking bad about your dad right now. And she's like, why not? Why shouldn't I call him a deadbeat? Oh no, I accidentally clicked my mouse side button. My bad. She's like, why shouldn't I talk about Dad? Because he's sitting in the living room behind you. Sit down. So this is kind of a good reveal scene. Full page shot because it's significant. I only do full page shots if it's like a big moment. It's an emotionally hitting moment. I don't like the clutter the scene. Like this to me is cluttered enough. You got like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 panels. I think this is enough per page, to tell the story. Now, can I zoom out on some and make it tell more in one page? Technically, yes, I can, and I've done that in a couple other pages on here. But the idea is like I don't want it to be too much per page. You know what I mean? So, but yeah. So then we get the funny sort of reveal. Night Vision sitting in the living room waiting for her to notice. Then we get the scolding session. V is sitting down, pouting. I like the expression on her face here. The ripped up jeans. That I don't always draw. Sometimes, like, if it's zoomed in enough, I will draw it. If it's not zoomed in enough, I won't draw it, right? It's not that big of a detail that's necessary. But for scenes like this where it's like, yeah, I'm showing her legs, the top of her legs specifically, I'm going to show it. And so, like, you get the little speech. And this page is kind of busy, too. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 panels as well. But the point is, and this is one of the things when, comics is an interesting art form because you also have to think about the construction of the page, right? And not every page has this much thought put into it, I'll admit. But this one specifically I made to have V be in the corner, surrounded by her parents, each shot getting closer and closer on their faces to the point of it's suffocating V in the frame. Like, she takes up a tiny amount of the frame while her parents are arguing on her behalf without her being able to say a word. And that's sort of the idea here. I play with the lighting a little bit from the lamp. I think it looks pretty decent. It's nothing complicated at all. It's just a gradient, but I think it looks pretty good. But yeah, these two are arguing, and then V's like, hey, do I get a say in this? And then Eduardo's like, hey, you'll get a say whenever you get back to the base and start your training. And he's just not getting it. He's not getting the idea that, like, she doesn't want to do this. And forcing her is not really the way to go about it. Even if you can argue that he's right. That she should. It is her duty to use her abilities to help other people. But it's like you can argue that, or you can argue against it. But the main idea is that ultimately V does not want to right now. And she is going to go out the front door that's broken. So you get to see the leg. The leg is sealed up. It's still sealed up in this shot. She broke the door down. And so Eduardo's like, I'm throwing the grapple. I'm throwing the thing, which I forgot the name of. I looked up the name of this, but I forgot it. It's been a little while. So the leg is still down. The grapple thing, the ball and rope is going. And then, whoop, just missed. So, Night Vision starts to pursue. Of course, you get this moment where Mystiel's like, hey, we can't be seen outside, dummy. We'll blow our cover. And he's like, oh, fine. So they're cutting out the electricity, which is why, whenever they get back, it's dark. The only thing that's powered is the teletunnel, which, of course, has its own power supply. So this is another one that's like a full-page panel that I kind of wanted to get the idea. Like, he's going down a ladder in a secret passageway down. And I wanted to show this. I wanted to, like, pay attention to this secret exit because it's going to be significant later. So the best way to do that, in my eyes, is to make it a full page and have him just the full page dedicated to him going down. So, they're talking about it and everything. This little thing here is showing that the armband is not just decoration. It's also like it's got a little very thin sort of technology in there that lets you know that there's some trouble going on. And Night Vision is like, nah, I can't be bothered. You do it. Cut to the scene of V riding her bike, POV of the wheel. I see a lot of action movies with car chases do this, and I wanted to kind of replicate it. And this definitely won't be the last time I do a shot like this because I just really like the shot angle. So she's on the road, riding up the same hill that was shown at the start. So, getting a sense of direction, a sense of space, right? Going to this panel, I like this one. You've got top left, her dad, top right, her mom. And she's like, I wish I'd just stay out of my life. Foreshadowing. The motion blur on the wheel is to show that she's going fast because, as you can see, she's going up the hill. But by the time she gets done saying all this, she's going down the hill. So she's going fast. This van of mysterious origin that looks to be covered in blood suddenly appears. Bam! Hits her head on the side of it, leaves a dent. Mysterious figures. Who could it be? It's the Murder Machine. Very creative name, I know. Not at all creative, but you know what? It's something that a teenager would think of if they're trying to make a parody of the Mystery Machine and they want to make a metal band. What are they going to say? The Murder Machine! And it's going to be an unreadable font. Anyway, the introduction of Chester and LeJohn. Now, just like Amy and V at the bus scene, these two are shown to be even more opposite of each other. Whereas Chester is more chaotic and, a little too much caring about his vehicle. LeJohn is all focused on V. And you get this little cute moment here where they're looking at each other. They're talking about, they're reintroducing. This is just me kind of giving the names of characters without having to just outright say it. You know what I mean? It comes more naturally if he's like, hey, you got some head trauma, you got a concussion, amnesia, and she's like, the idiot who hit me is Chester. All right, name drop, and I can never forget you, LeJohn. Not only another name drop that feels natural into the scene, but it also gives you the idea that these two are a little bit closer than the others. Maybe there's something romantic going on. It looks like it, right? But they don't seem to be romantic. They don't kiss here, right? They're not smooching. They're just looking at each other. So it's not necessarily romantic yet, but it could be. A little teaser for the people who are into the teen romance thing. Anyway, Amy's back and she's like, wow, that sounded like it hurt. And she's like, I'm hard-headed, which, yeah, You could say she's hard-headed. I kind of glossed over this, but this is another use of her powers, and I wanted to show her like mid-use of it. She kind of has this like white fire-like glow to her skin as it's, you know, going to steel from human flesh to steel. There's this sort of transition effect that takes place. And again, she's comfortable using her powers to the point where she can make it specific to just her face in a short instant, right? Some more banter here, talking about the frustrations, and then just Chester, man, just freaking Chester. Everyone who's like told me they love Little Miss Steele. Everyone who's like, which is pretty much everyone. Everyone who's actually commented on Little Miss Steele, and everyone who's like actually like talked about it has loved it, and I appreciate that a lot. It doesn't mean that it's perfect. It doesn't mean that there's not people who don't like it. It just means the people that maybe they didn't like it or they were mid on it just haven't left a comment, and that's totally fine. I understand that. That's realistic. I have no problem with that. But people really like Chester, which I'm glad, because comedy is, especially nowadays, it feels like it's hard to balance, because you don't want to write Marvel humor, okay? You just don't. Nowadays, especially, you do not want to write Marvel humor. People are sick and tired of Marvel humor, and I don't want to write that with Chester. And Chester is not. He is, I would like to say that he is like the Teen Titans random animation style change bits humor. You know what I mean? Like, I like to think that he is sort of the embodiment of that. So like, you have him just jumping straight out the car with motion blur like this, jumping out here and trying to pull it open and then falling back, eyes, circles, mouth wide open. You know, and there's a lot of character about Chester as well. Just immediately looking at him, you're like, yeah, this guy is the funny guy, right? He's got the missing chunk of his eyebrow. How did that happen? Did he do it himself? No one knows. He's got the gauge earring. He's got a gap in his teeth. He's just got a lot going on. He's got a lot going on just visually. He's got the kind of punk hair. Not necessarily a mullet, but it's got a little bit of curl to it at the back here. Yeah, I mean, he is the most 2000s looking character I think I've ever drawn. Oh yeah, he's also got some like eyeliner stuff going on. Very, very punk nu metal emo type of character, right? And just the amount of like thickness to his eyes, it just demands your attention, right? So anyway, Chibis. I love the Chibis. They're so cute. And of course, Amy again. Character moments. Like, I'm trying to take advantage of every single frame to show character. LeJohn, he's a caring dude, but he can also laugh. Amy, she's like, oh. She's not really laughing at Chester's expense. She's like, oh, I'm worried about him. And yeah, I mean, it's just fun to draw Chibis too. It's very funny. You just get to draw like big-headed, round edged characters. Just it's just funny. But yeah, this little frame here is also I'm really proud of this. You know, you got this taller shot of Chester. One where he's actually not being a joke, which is kind of important. You don't want every scene to be a joke with him. You want to see him normal, and this is a chance to do that. He's kind of like, right now he's kind of acting the cool guy, and trying to play it cool, like he didn't just fall out of, jump out of his car head first and then fall trying to open the door. So again, funny guy. People seem to like him so far, so I'm really happy about that. And then the other three frames are just like, the conversation is going downwards here. And again, I can play with the eyes. I can make stuff simple if I want to. It's funny. It's a good break as well. Visually, it's a good break to kind of play with it a bit. So all four of them saying, Phoenix, here we come. So we get the idea that they're going to Phoenix. That's established. That's important for later. The point of the band meeting, which is now just taking place on the street, is them planning to get their instruments from the school and driving to Phoenix. And that's where they're going for the rest of summer. School's out. They're going to Phoenix to try and make it big with their band. um, as much as they can in 2 months, right? And so that's the goal. That's just the simple dream of 4 teenagers. And then we get to this. We are going to a different scene here, and you can tell because the time has changed. And that's something as well. If we scroll back up here to this scene where V is biking up the hill, this is the same shot from earlier, but now the sky is like completely orange. You know, the passage of time again. Like now the sun is setting even further. But we get to this scene, and now it's nighttime. You can see in the background it's purple. I like using purple sky. And you got this pretty bad looking scene here. You got some fire, cars upside down. I am not the best at drawing cars. I will never claim to be. I feel like this isn't that bad. You got some crack in the glass, right? Things on fire. Again, it's simple, but my art style in general is kind of simple. And it's serviceable, okay? The car is serviceable. I don't think it's that bad. I don't think it's that bad at all. For my style, that is. But yeah, the sign could have been better. The sign, I could have done a little bit more with the sign, to be honest. I look at this and I'm like, maybe a little more effort. Yeah, so she's like, what the heck? What the Sigma? Blasted by some kind of laser and hits a tree, cracks a tree because steel is harder than wood. She's got a red glow to her now, and that doesn't look good. Crunch, crack. She's like, I feel weak. What is this? Foreshadowing. And then look at this. Hello, Tatiana. Now, every time I share like the preview of this page, I show this top part and this over here. I do not show the left side or this. And the reason why is because, and I also take out the speech bubble with Hello Tatiana. The reason why I do this is because I want to show the villain being badass. I want to show him being cool. But I don't want to give away the fact that he knows Tatiana, because that gives it away that this is personal, right? I want that to be a little surprise. Like, oh, I saw this scene on, Twitter or DeviantArt, and he didn't say Hello Tatiana there. That implies that he knows her. And also just seeing his face behind the mask, behind the helmet visor, it gives you a little idea. This is not a man. This is not a robot. This is a man in a suit. And, or it's just a really good high-res screen for some reason. And gives you a closer look like this. And this is kind of teasing, right? You get to see the black outline with some red glow on them. You also get to see a little bit of detail with the arm here, which I just think looks really good in this lighting. The detail in the arm cannon as well. I put some thought into it, like how it should look, how it configures from the hand into the blaster. I put some thought into it. I watched quite a bit of Transformers cartoons. Not all of them make sense, let me tell you. Freaking Soundwave turning into a boombox is bull crap. Anyway. And then this, still dark, but you get to see some detail of the armor, right? And something I wanted to do whenever I'm designing death metal, something I wanted to do was I wanted to make him look different than Iron Man. Obviously, I'm not going to avoid Iron Man comparisons. What is it, Butterbear? You're going crazy. I want to avoid him looking like Iron Man as much as possible. Black and gold, I think, gold, of course, Iron Man has gold on him. But I wanted to use the black and gold color scheme to kind of give a sense of fancy. Gold, of course, people assume, think of that with, they compare it with money. Whenever someone has gold, they're like, oh, this guy must have a pretty good amount of money on him, right? And this guy's just covered in the gold paint scheme with black, which, darker colors always go with, the bad guys type of characters. What a bang, why are you going crazy? She's a goblin. She's going nuts. She's ravenous. I'm playing with her chew toy, and she would not let go of it. Anyway, we're going over here now. Where it was over here, this was a little bit of a distance away. It's already night here. The sun is still just barely over the horizon. So there's a distance being had here. Silhouettes of the characters. Chester is still trying to open the door. Again, he closed it. He's trying to open it back up. Meanwhile, the others are back here with their instruments, packing them in the back of the murder machine. The school as well. You can see this. This was sort of modeled after a school, not exactly, but sort of modeled after a school that was in the area I grew up in, and I took some inspiration from that and sort of just slapped it onto here, in the comic, and again, simple art style, but I think I think people can look at this and say like, yeah, this looks like a school I've seen, a lot of old schools and whatnot. Brick. So the joke about Chester's uncle working at the school and basically getting him to sneak beer in for him while he's on the job with kids is a little dubious, a little irresponsible, but kind of gives the idea, that Chester, his whole family is kind of funny like that. And then of course Amy's concerned about it. These two are also a good pair. I think the cool thing about this crew of characters is that all of them can make good and interesting pairs. I don't mean romantically. I mean just friendship pairs. So Chester and LeJohn, you got the serious guy, and you got the goofy guy. Chester and Amy, you got the goofy guy and the positive, upbeat, concerned girl. Then you got Chester and V. Chester's the funny guy. V's the kind of smug, I'm gonna do it better than you type of character whenever she's dealing with Chester, right? LeJohn and V. These two are very much like, kind of empathetic people. They understand each other. They get along probably the best out of these four. And then V and Amy, I talked about that at the beginning. So like they all kind of work with each other. And it's and LeJohn and Amy, both kind of serious, more concerned, caring people. They're the most similar, I would say, characters. Amy definitely goes a bit more in the positive and upbeat side, whereas LeJohn is a bit more realistic. Nu metal tag. I'm not subtle at all. Just get used to that. Guitar. I actually looked up a real Fender bass guitar and just sort of traced around it and tried to make it look authentic with the colors as well, while not going again not betraying the art style, the simplistic art style, but yeah, you got some conversations here at the back. You get an idea of what these characters, how these characters feel about their situation, right? LeJohn is the voice of reason. He's like, yeah, your parents might be, a little annoying right now, but you shouldn't hate them. Try to, having family in your life is good, unless they're just objectively just like terrible. If they have some redeeming qualities, it's good to have family in your life, right? But in LeJohn, that's coming from a place. If you read the novelization, you know exactly why. But like LeJohn is a character who doesn't have all the family in the house. LeJohn's a character who wishes that he was in V's position, even if it is like not the best position for a kid. He wishes that he had this, which is saying something, right? But yeah, and this is some good, like, sort of like, introspective of how the characters feel. Up until this point, you might think that V is sort of whiny, that, she's just kind of lazy. But this is showing that she has a true passion for playing in the band. She has, like, she feels like she has to play in the band. Like, that's her goal in life right now, because she's a teenager, right? She's just having fun. She's not really thinking about responsibilities all like an adult would, because she's not an adult. So it's they're still sort of like that, trying to hold on to the wonders of a child, sort of. and that's where the conflict comes in with her. This shot, very funny. This is one of my most shared shots. I share it all the time. It's comedy, man. The door's stuck again. Let me try. Steel hand, sneaking that in there without anyone noticing. That she just effortlessly pries it open, and he's furious because he's like, dang it, I've been outdone again. How is she so much stronger than me, dang it? You kind of get the idea with this framing, with this shot, that V has been doing this to Chester for years. She has been rubbing it in that she's stronger than him for years, and Chester is burned up about it. Literally, his hair has turned into fire. And then, of course, the smug look on her face. I copied the meme. I don't know what the meme is called, but it's like it's not a Wojak or Soyjack meme, but it's like it's just a white face with just black doodles for the face, and it looks like this. You've seen it. Like, you can look at his face and you're like, oh, I get it. I get the reference. But yeah, she's very smug with it. This is probably one of my favorite faces I've ever drawn, and it's so simple. It's just funny. The interior of this door, by the way, is based off of the truck I had growing up. The crank window, absolutely something I had to deal with driving. And it wasn't that bad, to be honest. Is it a little inconvenient? Yes. But I'm not complaining. Anyway, she's like, I'm never coming back here. Same frame a few seconds later, and the big red star is suddenly much bigger. Laser coming down. Full page shot. Who's that in there? That's Miss Steele, not Little Miss Steele. It's Miss Steele. It doesn't look too good. This as well, I'm really proud of the effect here. It kind of looks like a 2000s sort of laser effect that you would see. I'm just very proud of this one. And I amped up the blue in the sky in this scene to make the red stand out even more. Maybe it looks a little different from, obviously it looks different, and maybe that might be jarring for some people. Like, hey, why is the sky so blue here? Someone will see that probably and say it. But I did it to make the red stand out even more, the glow effect as well. But yeah, Chester, as usual, like, hey, she's not a van, she's the murder machine, and then he gets cut off and sees the impending doom above him. And yeah, it's this facial expression says it all. He's wearing shades at night, by the way, because he's just that cool. So the laser hits, rocks flying and everything. Thankfully, it missed them and landed in the baseball field. So here we go. V's like, what the heck? What just happened? Chester's, confused. There's this catchphrase, by the way, Wicked. That is his catchphrase. Then the full artwork reveal, full color, no obscuring by shading. This is the real deal. This is the reveal of death metal. So here he is. If I'm being honest, Tatiana, not your best landing. Once again, showing this familiar with her because he's referring to her by name, and he's kind of enjoying himself a little bit. He's like, yeah. This is something that's pretty fun for me. But yeah, he lands. It's like iris scanner vitals. You get to see a close up of his face underneath the helmet. She's covered in this red tint to her skin. Scan complete. Target's heart has stopped. And her skin is cracked as well, which shows that she's not invincible. She can, her armor does have a limit. And so at this point, we're moving on. We see the out of focus rest of the crew, and V in the middle, seeing this and like freaking out, like, what did he just say? Did that robot voice just say that her heart has stopped? That's my freaking mom. And so now she's furious. She got some tears running out of her eyes. She's turning steel. And then Death Metal is like, we don't have much time. Deploy the drones. This is one of my favorite lines in this. I'm very proud of this joke. Incoming, sir. That fast? Pow! The sparks, excuse me, the sparks bouncing off his helmet from metal and metal impacting. Excuse me, I had to take a swig. Little detail here. She's punching up at him. The classic comic book pow sort of thing going on every time he gets hit. He's getting hit multiple times. She's landing some good hits on him, right? She's hitting him over and over and over again. But now he's done playing. The arm thrusters. So this is your first sort of glimpse at a move that's going to take place in the fight later on in a few pages here. But the arms have thrusters on them that allow it to go super fast, and in this case, punch super fast. So this is done here. She gets smacked. Sparks once again, and he's like, "Hey, you know what? Let's do this cannon." This little interior HUD type of thing. He's seeing all the alerts and everything. Threat detected, iris status online. The core's at 32%, and then I forget what all this is, but it's all like important parts of the suits at various percentages. And it's basically showing that, the core is at 32%, meaning that, for him to be fighting Miss Steel for not a whole lot of time, the core has been used up quite a bit. His power supply is running dry. Getting close to, 25%. So he's like, cannon. Then we get to see the Transformers robots in disguise moment. The arm, the palm of it sort of moves out the way so the cannon part can come out. And then the fingers wrap around the cannon part here. Form this. And then, not looking good. Not looking good for V. However, she can walk this off. Now you might be wondering, how can she walk this off, right? What is up with her? She's not, turning a hint of red whenever she's getting blasted by this like her mom did. What's going on? And this will all be explained in later issues. But basically, as you can see, she is not nearly as harmed by this. Obviously, she's not looking the greatest. But yeah, he's like, you're supposed to be a miscarriage, Little Miss Steel, because Little Miss Steel was reported to be a miscarriage. She was not supposed to officially. She does not exist. The daughter of Miss Steel and Night Vision does not exist, but Veronica exists. Veronica Martinez exists. And so does Eduardo Martinez. His normal identity that he just doesn't use because he's always Night Vision. Hence the reason why you don't see like any part of him except for like a little bit of his neck as far as skin goes. He's always Night Vision. He's completely the social life, the normal life doesn't exist. He just is hero all the time. And that's what V doesn't want to be. That's why V doesn't want to be a hero, because she sees her father like that. But yeah, so she's stepping back forward. She's like, I'm gonna kill you. and something that I wanted to show here is that she's stealing down half of her face. Why is that? Well, that's because whenever she got blasted by this, she hardened up her torso to take the hit. So that's why whenever you see the hole in the shirt, you see the smoke coming off of it here and here, more pronounced here. You can see that she knows that she can harden parts of herself to better take a hit. And you see that happen all the time. You see it happen with the bus. Whenever she hit it with her head, she hardened her head. And in this case here as well. Another look at Raymond as well, from inside the helmet. He's like, I know this looks bad, but the world will actually be safer after what I've just cut off. This is a ballsy thing to say after killing her mom. It's not the right thing to say. That's for sure. This is not the right thing to say. But he doesn't really care. He's like, he's just here to take care of business, and he really just does not care how she feels at all. But yeah, she's about to go crazy. She's losing it. She's just running headfirst into the fight and just trying to punch her way through it. A little bit of perspective here. The left arm is closer to the frame, so it looks bigger than the right arm. You know, the outline is also a little bit thicker. You can tell on the left arm because it is closer. I like to do that with the perspective to really just emphasize the closeness and distance of things. So you get Iris deploy. Internet. What are you doing? Should I refresh? Okay, here we go. I was about to say I haven't dropped stream. I haven't got a notification. But yeah, this is probably my favorite page from the first comic. Just the composition of the shot and everything. He's launching off the rocket, the rocket hand, the arm flying off. He's like, Iris deploy, yes sir. You get this POV of the hand getting close to V. She's running from the bleachers. She's furious here. She's still running head first, and then by the time she realizes what's really happening, it's too late. The arm is already on her face and grabbing her, dragging her through the ground. You see the rocks flying up, the rocks in the foreground. That's emphasizing that she's being dragged through the dirt. I think it's a really, really good page. It shows a flow of action, I think, very well. And it looks good. I think this is one of the best looking pages in the comic as well. There's just a lot of stuff going on here. I think the backgrounds are pretty good. I think the actual posing and the characters, the action flow, like I said, I think just everything is really good. And the effects as well, the motion blur and all that, the flames, I just think it looks really good. So he's looking at sort of this little small screen here that's listing off some kind of data to him. And she's like, sir, my scans suggest the female's DNA is 50% human, 50% titanium, which may explain some stuff, but he's not too worried about it right now. He's like, you know what? It's not important. If she's half as durable as her mother, because she's half titanium, half human, she's half as durable as her mother, she should survive this. Fires a rocket from his right arm, and just sends her flying. Now, if you notice, she has steeled up her arms and her face to try and protect herself as much as possible. And then we get this shot where it just breaking through the pole, keeping up the water tower, through an entire building, from the front and back window, and then even through a church steeple, man. And you even get to see her body over here, smoke trail and everything. I like this one. This one's an example of like minimalism, where it's like you get the idea. You get the idea across of like what these things are with very minimalistic detail, but it gets the job done. Like it's done in an artsy way that like you know what's happening. You know what's happening, even without like a Picasso level of detail in the art. Maybe Picasso wasn't the best example, but anyway, Cutie is waking up. And the transition from like this to an all white page is like, is she in heaven? No, but she's at least got Cutie to wake her up. So she's just like, bark, bark, feed me, feed me. She destroyed the doghouse. She destroyed Cutie's doghouse. Oh no, it's in ruin. Butterbean, are you sad for Cutie? Do you feel sad for the Cutie? You do. Her doghouse is gone. And yes, Cutie will continue to appear in the comics. Butterbean. I'm playing with her right now with the rope. She loves the rope. The rope is way too big for her. I got a way too big of a rope. But she loves it. She loves it. Listen to her. Listen to that dog. She's ferocious today. But yeah, she's just completely beat up here. Now if this was a character of age, maybe I would have done a bit more clothes tearing, but I didn't want to do too much because again, this is a teenager. Sexualizing minors is not cool, not cool. But she's kind of similar. Actually, exact same shots as previously in the comic, but it's in a different. It's at night now, and it's in a different context. She's stepping up the stairs, opening the back door. It's dark inside the house because the power's off. And she's just like, I gotta call Dad. At least the landline works because it's coming from the landline. I'm very good at describing things, as you can see. But yeah, so this scene here, some last minute touch ups I did to this scene. I added the fact that he's got his eyes closed in this scene to sort of make it feel even more somber, so you don't see his neon green eyes. And he's like, I felt her heart link leave me. Now, for the novel people, for the fans of the novel who have read the comic as well, I appreciate you. You guys are the biggest fans. You would know that the heart link was mentioned in the prologue newspaper clippings. That's the only information that gets sacrificed in the way that I do it in the comic, which is just the pictures and the article titles. That's the only information that gets sacrificed in this thing. And so the heart link sort of comes out of nowhere. I'm not going to say it completely comes out of nowhere. But because again, the novel does mention it, but if you're just reading the comic, maybe it feels like it comes out of nowhere. I just didn't want to bog down the reader of a comic with, paragraphs of text in a newspaper. I didn't want to do that. I thought that was a bad way to start it for a comic. And I just felt like it was better to just, if I have to just lose that information and have it brought in. I still showed what the heart link is, which is the important part, right? And also added a tear here to show that, yes, he is grieving. He does care. He does not have a very good way of showing it, right? And the contrast, the blue and the green here. But Ben, leave me alone. I am trying to do a stream, please. Please, leave me be. This dog, she's crazy. But yeah, and so the perfect cut down the middle. Daughter versus father in dialogue here, and V is like really upset here. She's extremely upset. She just lost her mom, and her dad is being completely closed off because he just does not know how. He does not know how to be normal because he's so caught up in being a hero. That's all he's ever been. He doesn't know how to be a dad. So yeah, she breaks the phone in frustration. Picture of the family photo, not photo necessarily, the drawing, artistic rendition of the family photo of V when she was little. And you can see that they're a happy family. They were once a happy family. She enjoyed her parents. Her parents enjoyed her. It was a great time. But that's no longer the case. However, there is still hope. Because V's heartbeat is somehow experiencing a second beat syncing up. The heart link has been established. Mom? And so at this point, V's friends arrive. Why did they not intervene with a fight? What could they have done? If you were wondering why they didn't intervene, they literally could not do anything against a robot, except maybe drive the vehicle into it. And Chester's not going to do that. But yeah, another showcase of the personalities. You got LeJohn coming in. Butterbean, please leave me alone, please. You got LeJohn rushing in. They knew she was here because they saw the direction of which she flew. And yeah, is it convenient for her to land at her house? Yes, that's like the one thing I'll say is a complete convenience in this story is that happening, right? That's just kind of like that's convenient for the sake of being convenient. Whereas Miss Steele crash landing on the baseball field is, you could look at that as a convenience too. I I that decision to me is more like a destined sort of thing. Like it's a destiny um, type of situation for her mom to land there in front of V so that she can have the call to action that makes her into a hero, right? That takes her on this journey of the comic series. And it's also like, visually fitting because where, Miss Steele first crash landed in like the Grand Canyon where it's just dirts and rocks, and where she land in the dirt area of the school in a in an area surrounded by rocks, which is just Arizona in general. So yeah, that is, I feel like, even though you could look at this as a convenience, it's not that earth shattering of a thing. It's not that important to the plot that she lands here. It's just more for storytelling purposes. It's just more convenient, right? And it helps me save time by reusing drawn scenes. So anyway, the gang's all here. Chester's like, "Whoa, I have a superhero friend? That's so wicked." And then Amy, while being the compassionate and very upbeat person most of the time, Amy is like, "Yo, your friend just saw her mom die. Calm down a little bit with the fanboyism, okay?" And so then, like, V's like, we need to get out of here. That guy could be coming after her. The death metal could be coming after her. And so she's like, we need to leave. The only way we can leave without him knowing is to use the secret entrance behind the fridge, which is the only thing powered at this point. The rest of the house has no more power. It's only the secret entrance mechanism and the teletunnel itself. So they're going down. Sorry for Butterbean being so loud. She's just very rambunctious right now. I don't think I've seen her this rambunctious in a long time. This frame is also pretty good too. Is this a secret tunnel? That's a long way down. But yeah, this page, this is another full screen shot. I'm really proud of this one because it shows the different characters. They're all kind of hanging out. They're all looking for stuff. Like, they're all having different experiences. Chester is like, "This is the coolest day of my life, man." Amy's like, "Careful, it's pitch black in here," of course, because she's the one that's always concerned for her friends. And then LeJohn is trying to be the logical one, like, "Hey, let's find a light switch. Let's not freak out." Silhouette shots here of everyone kind of just looking around, trying to feel around, trying to find something to provide light. And Chester's like, "Oh man, a big switch. I should pull it." And then, of course, the teletunnel starts to light up with the colors. And we get another cool shot here. The teletunnel is an idea that I just thought, the characters had to be getting around quickly, right? This has to happen at some point. Not everyone has a Batmobile. And the way that I've got it, in this is that, the teletunnel exists. And it's basically just a teleporter, but the naming of it, I wanted to be a little more unique with it. So teletunnel, I thought sounded pretty cool. Rolls off the tongue pretty easily. And it's a swirl effect, and it looks pretty cool, I think. So the dematerialization. He's starting to like lose parts of himself. You can see holes through him, and he's like, "Whoa, wicked!" Because this is like the one word that Chester could say. He's starting to like starting a swirl effect. He's starting to like just go wibbly wobbly. And this is actually a picture of Amy that's stretched and swirled so much that it's almost unrecognizable. But you can kind of see her face here, a little bit, the two eyes. But yeah, and then it just swirls. And that's how the teletunnel works. You basically like dematerialize, get swirled around into this teleporter dimension or whatever it is. I haven't fully elaborated on the concept of it, so I won't go into the details. But And to be honest, I'm still figuring out the details myself. But Chester flies out. There was going to be another page where Chester gets kneed in the balls by Amy landing on him. But I was like, nah, give him a break. I don't want to overdo Chester's funniness. And I felt like it was a good balance the way it was, so I ended up not doing that. The shot of the base, this is heartbreaking. I plan on using this shot once per episode going forward in the comics. I lost the source file. I no longer have this, and thus I cannot use it. And it's heartbreaking, man, because I was like, I'm future proofing this. I'm making it really easy for me to be able to use it in the future. It's going to be awesome. And then I've lost it. And it's so tragic. So tragic, but it is what it is. I'll just draw it again. Or hopefully find a flash drive that had all my source files on it. I should have backed it all up, man. I did back up most of it. I would say I had like maybe 90% of it backed up, source files. But the last 10 pages I worked on, maybe more like 7 pages, they just got lost. And all I had was the high quality JPEGs, which I thankfully sent to my friends for peer review. So this is Night Vision's base. This is Night Vision's old base, known as the Night Dungeon. And it's very, as you'll see in future issues, volumes of Loma Steel, you'll see that it's a very retro, very minimalistic kind of base that just gets the job done. And for a while, it worked for Night Vision when he was solo, but then he abandoned it. But instead of destroying it, he decided to keep it as like a backup, right? And now, because of that, now V is like, we can go here. We can use this. The Teletone takes him there because it's just like, that was whatever. Whenever Chester flipped the switch, he flipped it to go to the Night Dungeon. They ended up here, which is perfect because V recognizes it because she's probably been here before in the past. Night Vision took her here as a kid years and years ago. She remembers it vaguely, and she's like, yeah, we're underneath Phoenix. This is Dad's old base when he was solo, showing that she's familiar with it and that she's familiar with what's inside here. Old equipment, old costume. It's going to be the perfect place, perfect stash for everything she'll need to save Mum. A little bit of a teaser here. Miss Steel hooked up to needles. These are going to be some strong needles to be piercing through Steel skin. So this guy is prepared, right? And it's got tubes attached to it. So what's going on here? What is being extracted from her, right? What is the purpose of capturing her? First of all, stopping her heart, then basically killing her, and then restarting her heart. What is the purpose, right? What is the purpose? And that's what gets elaborated throughout the series, the mystery of why this is all happening in the first place gets elaborated on, and it's fun for you to figure out. So I'm not going to talk about it anymore. Haha. So that is it. I found that Global Comics does not really have a lot of engagement. There's not really any, no one's really hitting any buttons. They're definitely viewing it, and I appreciate that, but they're not commenting. They're not hitting any kind of emojis or anything like that. Webtoon, there's a bit more. There's some likes, there's some comments, and it's just I don't know why Global Comics people are antisocial, but that's basically it. So overall, if anyone has any questions, please comment on the VOD. I would love to answer some more questions about Little Miss Steel 1. Of course, I'm not going to give everything away. I'm going to be selective about it. But feel free to answer, and I will answer as best I can without giving the whole thing away. If you have read the novel, it does not mean that you know what's happening. There's quite a bit that I'm changing. I'm writing stuff every day, whether it's on an actual document on my computer, or if it's just in my head, I'm writing. I'm constantly thinking of ways to tell the story better. So just because you read the book does not mean you know what's going to happen. Stuff is going to be drastically different in some episodes. Sometimes it's just going to be subtle. You know, some things are going to be a bit more subtle. And there are some subtle changes here. Nothing too drastic, but there are some subtle changes. So I hope you can still be excited for the comic story. It's going to be different. It's going to be great. And I've learned a lot from the novelization. I've learned a lot from that. And I'm excited to continue to learn from it and make changes for the better. Those of you who read the novel, is there something from that you think was done better there than on here, or vice versa? Which do you prefer, the novel version of the story or the comic version of the story? And please explain why. I would love to hear the debate. And for those of you who just read the comic, no shame. I love you guys just as much. Which character of the band, which band character is your favorite and why? Comment below. Until next time, peace out.